everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Game Time here on the Outlaw Nation channel. So much to talk about after an awesome weekend of football. Look, that divisional round was a hell of a weekend. We didn't expect a couple of tight games, and I'll be damned if we didn't get some damn good football over these two games, the AFC and NFC Championship. We'll talk about all that here. We'll talk about some Super Bowl preview, talk about Tom Brady, talk about that crazy Jeff Garcia, Mina Kimes story as well. All of it happening here on Game Time. But let's introduce ourselves. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, joined as always by this man down there, Winston A. Marshall. How are you, bro?
The A stands for, man, hey, can't this dude predict some motherfucking football games? I'll tell you that, bro. A, dog, A.
Biggest Bengals lover on the planet, apparently now, Winston A. Marshall.
I'm not going to say that I'm the biggest Bengals lover, but I am an underdog lover, man. And this is one of those things, if I don't have any skin in the game, I do like the Chiefs a lot. But, hey, you've been to 4 FC titles. You won a Super Bowl. You went to 2 in a row.
Yeah.
This is an awesome story. So I was pulling for him, and look at where we ended up, man.
No doubt. What a shock. We're going to get to all that, of course, and break down the specifics of what happened here. And Ben Goddard joining us again this week. Ben, great to see you again. What's your feeling after these two? I mean, we're less than 24 hours after these games have finished. So what's your overall reaction here this afternoon as you think about how both those games went down?
I am fully on the Bengals bandwagon. Like I don't know how far up to the front I can get on the bandwagon, but like I'm there. I'm there. Like I'm glad LA made it and they're playing in essentially like a home game.
Yeah.
So I'll be pretty like okay with whoever wins. But man, if Joey B comes in and wins this ring, like what a story. What a story.
Yeah, already starting right off the bat, this is the first quarterback ever drafted for first overall that has taken a team to the Super Bowl in its first 2 years as quarterback. Just let that sink in 2022. This has finally happened after all these drafts, all these years of number one overall quarterbacks going, and some of them panning out, most of them not panning out. But this has been an incredible accomplishment from Joby. I mean, to go from a national championship to a possible Super Bowl championship within 2 years, that's incredible work for sure by a quarterback. But as I said, we're going to get into all of that for sure. Reminding you all, Streamlabs and SuperChats are open. So send in your support, send in your thoughts, send in your comments. You see the Streamlabs right there above our heads in the graphic. I'm going to pin it in the chat in just a second. It's also in the description of this video. So let's jump into this right off the bat as we go along here. So the Bengals took care of business in overtime here, beating the Kansas City Chiefs on their own field in Arrowhead Stadium, something a lot of people said couldn't be done, except for, of course, Winston A. Marshall here. But Evan McPherson, who a lot of people are saying that this is a rookie kicker himself, having ice in his veins, kicked a 31-yard field goal with 9:22 left in overtime. And this is after a furious comeback from the Bengals, after it looked like this was pretty much going to be a blowout. I mean, 21-10, first and goal, just before the half ends in the first half, and the Chiefs come away with nothing. The hubris with 5 seconds left to not take the field goal points, the 3 points there, which were pretty much assured with Harrison Butker, and instead try to go for the end zone and get Tyreek Hill tackled. And then going into the second half, the defense, the Bengals, seem to have figured out the Chiefs and shut them down until that final field goal that sent it into overtime, and they took care of business. Winston A., I go to you first. What a game by these Bengals. They figured it out, and the score was the same at halftime as it was earlier in the year when they had beaten these Kansas City Chiefs. So what happened here for these Chiefs that shut them down the second half after it looked like they were going to blow them out in the first half?
I think one of the biggest things that gets talked about a lot in sports is adjustments.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what we saw here. We saw the Bengals go back to the drawing board during halftime, look at what they were doing right, look at what they were doing wrong, and then make those adjustments. You literally came back and held the Chiefs to a field goal in the fourth quarter after coming back, from the half. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. You did everything right, including we were just debating about the OT rules last week and whether they should change. And guess what? This is kind of what we were talking about, where it's that the better team wins like 90-something% of the time,
right?
In the playoffs. This is one of those scenarios where, again, the Bengals defense stepped up hard, and that allowed them to not only stop the Chiefs from winning, they then turned around themselves and drove up the field and got within field goal range and handled business. It was absolutely incredible to see. I'm just really, really impressed. And again, there is something in the water, man. I want to take it so far as to say that they will ultimately win the Super Bowl. We will see, just because, to be honest with you, I was not as impressed with the Rams yesterday. They had moments near the end where I was, but I was like, bro, y'all, you need to figure some stuff out before you get to the big stage, because you do not want to get laughed at your own home stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this situation, Ben, it's not a bad thing that Winston brings up. We'll definitely going to focus on the Bengals again. We'll get to the Rams in just a second, but the Rams struggle with Jimmy G and had to launch their own furious comeback just to squeak out a win over Jimmy G. So you've got a better quarterback here in Joe Burrow. You've got a team that believes in itself. And this isn't one of those upsets like we saw when the Falcons beat the Vikings, or undeserving teams have gone to the Super Bowl. This is a team that believes in itself with a strong defense and a strong quarterback here. And they erased an 18-point deficit, which is apparently it ties an AFC title game record for the largest comeback here before taking care of business again in Kansas City. So you talk about SoFi, you talk about the Rams. This team is unafraid to beat you in Tennessee, beat you in Kansas City, and might even be unafraid to beat you in Los Angeles.
That's the thing, is that they will go anywhere and play anybody anytime. And to hold the Chiefs offense, which is vaunted and, historic, to 3 points in the second half, not only to stop them in overtime, but they had first and goal at the 4-yard line and held them to a field goal just to tie the game.
Right.
And we got to talk about the fact that the Chiefs didn't kick the field goal.
Yeah.
When you just saw the Rams do this last week and almost get beat by the Bucs, you don't just take – I realize you want to drive that final nail into the coffin. I understand that mentality.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're within the 3 or the 4-yard line, maybe if you're on the 1 or the half inch or something like that, you do a little Tom Brady quarterback sneak. But just take the 3 points, you win the game.
Yeah.
You take those 3 points and you win the game. And it just I think they were just smoking a little too much of their own stuff right there. And I mean, I can't blame them too much because they were just absolutely rolling.
Yeah.
But I don't know what halftime adjustments the Bengals did, but they deserve all the awards, because to completely stifle that offense and for their own offense to get going, just amazing.
Yeah. You got to give it up to the coach, Zach Taylor, right?
Absolutely. And you're right. The Rams need to watch themselves, because yes, they are the win it all team. They got Von Miller, they got OBJ, they've got everything. They got they are paper champions for sure. Everybody crowned them at the beginning of the season. And you know what? They made it to the big game. Yep. So most people are validated of picking the Rams in the Super Bowl. They're there. Congratulations. But it doesn't mean there's nothing guaranteed in this game. And the Bengals beat the number 1 seed in the AFC and the proverbial number 1 seed. Because, the Titans were the number 1 seed, but everyone knew it was going to be the Chiefs.
Right.
And so they beat the 2 hardest teams. You can say whatever they want. There's no question of how they got there. And I think the Rams are good, but you're not going to have, if Joe Burrow's in that Jimmy G situation last night, I'm a lot more scared than, because they're blitzing 5 guys just to pressure Jimmy last night, because one, the 49ers have Kittle and they got Debo, but not the greatest receiving core. Bengals have the receiving core. Bengals have the quarterback. Yeah. So you can't blitz on a 2-minute drill like you can against Jimmy, because that's just not going to happen.
Talk about a matchup I can't wait to see. Ramsey versus Chase, bro. That is going to be wild. Now, I hope that the Bengals have something to counter Cooper Kupp, because you're out here talking about Eli Apple, who would
Eli Apple, baby. We apple farm. We picking apples, baby.
No, that's the problem. They do pick apples. They pick them apples and then they run them all the way to the
delicious
bank, bro. He looked like a Grady Smith the way he be playing, bro. Come on now.
You know what? He did make the play of the game, though.
Yeah.
Made the play of the game before halftime.
Absolutely. Making that tackle. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what stands out to you, though, Winston, going back, you hear as you were just talking here with Joey Burrow. I mean, how impressed are you with Joey franchise? How impressed are you with this kid sitting on the sideline? Looked like nothing really affected him. You didn't see the leg jumping up and down. Didn't see him poring over the iPad, trying to figure it all out. He was just this picture of calm on the sideline, stepping up in that second half, having belief, completing some throws. Still, he did have a couple of questionable throws. Certainly the interception on the sideline there was a terrible throw, but you saw him kind of overcome everything and find a way to lead this team back. And he did look a little shaky at times as a nervous, it's your first time in AFC Championship. You might have a little bit of nerves, but he's able to control it and get the job done. And T. Higgins comes out of this thing with 103 yards receiving. Jamar Chase, Samaje Perine had a fantastic run for that touchdown. Then you got Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd. This is a team with weapons. The Rams have to watch out. And if Joe Burrow can now even take it to the next level with 2 weeks of preparation, this could be an interesting coronation of an incredible quarterback. As Tom Brady is retiring, possibly, this could be the new Tom Brady in the AFC.
I mean, look, man, I would say that the most impressive thing about Joe Burrow is I got first introduced to him because I don't really follow college football, to be honest with you. I went to a D3 school, so I don't have the same connection other people do. So I got introduced to him with that first image that went viral of him winning the title in the locker room with a cigar, just like smoking the thing, like chilling with all the brothers and shit. I was like, who is this kid? Like,
and that was when also, like, I'll let you finish, but like when Mel Kiper's like, I don't know, this could hurt his image. I don't know if you want this guy on your team. Like,
hell no.
How are these men still employed? How are they still paid millions of dollars to be constantly wrong? But go ahead, Winston. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's old dudes not understanding how things have moved on past them sometimes. Some things they know and some things they're very wrong about. And so watching that was one of those things I was like, okay, this kid got some swagger. All right, I'm here for it. And then you watch what he was doing last season, his rookie year, and he's actually playing really well, and then his ACL goes out.
Yeah.
So you're just
the
like,
Redskins killed him. They crunched him and knocked him out of the season. That's right. Yeah.
But to see him recover from that injury, to lead them to a division championship, to win not only their first playoff game in 31 years, but to go to the Super Bowl, to win 3 games in the playoffs, which he now has more playoff wins than a number of teams in a long time. Obviously, I'm talking about the Cowboys, but a bunch of other teams as well. Him individually has already done all of that. And when you hear that, like, I didn't even know that he's from Cincinnati. So he took his hometown team.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He took his hometown team. He went to Ohio State and wasn't getting any playing time. He transferred to LSU, gets the winning job, wins the Heisman, wins the title, gets the #1 overall draft pick. Obviously has that horrible injury and now is going to the Super Bowl in his second year. Bro, this kid is something special, and it's so cool to watch happen. There is a part of me that wants to see Matt Stafford, exercise those ghosts. There's a part of me that wants to see OBJ like really get his just due. But there's a much bigger part of me that wants to see this kid do exactly what he's meant to do. And this is a situation where I didn't like Brady because I don't like Boston sports fans. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like Belichick. There's a lot of things tied to that I was like, nah. But if this kid is going to become the next Brady, he's already shown me enough where I'm like, I F's with this kid, man. He honestly feels like Jack Harlow's like cousin. And instead of getting into rap, he got into football. Like that's how I feel about this kid, So... Hey,
nothing says college like
look
that.
At him,
right? Nothing says
boss move.
Nothing says I spent my money and I got laid like this. That is pimping, son.
Did you see are they real diamonds? Like, yes, I make way too much money for those not to be real diamonds. Like, dude, he's just
what a boss,
stuff, right? Man. Like, and that's the thing, to beat the Chiefs and to be, like Patrick Mahomes is one thing, but just to have that composure being down 21-3.
Yeah.
Where you've barely squeaked out a field goal just to say that you're on the board. And it's such composure, and it's so impressive to see someone do that. Anyone do that. But yeah, like you watching him, you see the defense like just getting driven on in the 2 minutes, go all the way down to 1st and goal. They cut it to a tie, and you just see Joe just like this. And then they win the field goal, and you know what happened last week. and he does, like, I don't know if he blinked on the sideline. Like he was just like, it's like when a pitcher's in a perfect game, you don't talk to him. No one was talking to Joe, and I like that. And he didn't move.
Yeah.
He didn't move. He didn't sigh. He didn't like lean back. You know, like you said, Johnny wasn't, okay, what's their scheme? What are we doing? Like, he just to see someone that's so in their element when it comes to big time moments.
Yeah.
It's a scary thing to see, honestly. Yeah. It's a scary but really cool thing to see.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed.
And just real quick, I see some other folks being like, he's not from Cincinnati proper. He's from a city outside of it, like an hour or two out. That's fine. There's people that are like that rep Dallas and they live out there. People that rep LA and they grew up in Orange County. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's close enough to rep it. And on top of that, the other thing, and I will give people credit for this, Joe Mixon did have a hell of a game.
Yes, he did.
That's the thing. There's that balance there that you genuinely have to worry about Mixon, especially once you got to OT. Burrow didn't have to really throw more than 1 or 2 balls because you don't want to risk throwing an interception. Yeah. And Mixon did exactly what he needed to do to pound the ball in there, get them within field goal range, and let the kicker finish the game.
He was frustrating me a little bit because Mixon wasn't hitting the holes with the speed and the desire that you've seen him do in other games. And I was wondering if there was an injury because he was kind of using that. You see running backs sometimes kind of use that hand to find the hole. And it wasn't until the second half that you started to see him things started to open up a little bit. And he took advantage, a couple of screen passes that were making it work for them. And so I was really impressed eventually by Joe Mixon, but maybe he just had to feel himself a little bit. And sometimes, you could be a great player and you get into that situation and you're not sure if you're going to win or lose and you're just trying to keep it close. And then all of a sudden your quarterback is the one leading you and giving you confidence. And maybe Joe got confident as the game went along for sure, because you saw him run it with much more ferocity in that fourth quarter than he did in the first 3 quarters. And he got the job done in the end, put him in nice positions for sure to get some touchdowns and get that winning field goal in the end as well. So great stuff by them. Yeah.
I would say, and then I want to end with like a personal story that was kind of fun, but I would say specifically with Joe, it was something similar that happened with Elliott in the Vikings game when we had our backup going. Elliott didn't do much of anything that game, but all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, it's like 3rd and 14, but if we get this first down, pretty much game over. Like we're very short red zone, can really make this happen. And Elliott out of nowhere, where he's not putting up more than 3 yards a carry, catches like I want to say it was out of the flat. He caught like a flat, just like the pressure valve move, and then pounded through 3 tacklers to get the first down. They went the full 14 yards. Yeah. There is something to be said about someone that knows I am not 100%. I can't do this right now, but will save themselves for that moment. It reminds me of Kobe in, I want to say it was the title he won against the Celtics, where that last game, he could not sink a shot to save his life, but he had like 20 rebounds because he's like, I may not be able to score for us, but I'm gonna get you this ball. He found a way to be effective when in a crucial moment, and that's what I feel like Mixon was doing. He's like, I don't got the sauce today, guys, but you need me right now. I'm gonna figure it out, and it was cool to watch. Go ahead. And go ahead.
Just like this, watching Joe Mixon run, and I feel like I think this game will do so much for the Bengals of like just calming them down, because I think everybody on the offense was just like, all right, we got to come. We're playing the Chiefs. We got to come out. We got to score. We got to hit a home run. We got to do this. And like, I feel like watching Mixon run, he was looking for that breakout when it's like, no, take the 6 yards right there. Take the 7 yards, like stay ahead of the chains. Like you're not like, you don't need to do that. And I feel like that's how they played the second half. Yeah. And I think that's how they're going to play the full game against the Rams, where it's like, we just beat the best offense possibly. I mean, we're going up against the NFC's best offense. We just beat the AFC's best offense. And we did it by methodically coming back and playing our game. I feel like they were trying to play the Chiefs game in the first half of like, who can make the bigger plays. Right. And like, no, that's not who we are. We'll work through the offense and the big plays will come. And they did. And so I think LA should be scared.
They should.
And Mixon got 28 yards of the 42 yards that they got on that last drive. So certainly a guy who eventually came to play as the game went along. So you got to give him credit for sure. The injury to Uzomah might be interesting. Uzomah might be interesting going into the matchup with the Rams, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Sad to see him on the sideline having a little bit of issues, so we'll see if he's going to be able to play come Super Bowl time in a couple of weeks. And now we got to look to the Chiefs, though. This is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid not getting it done again here in a game that looked like they could win it handily after the end of that first half. And now you got to start asking questions, I think, a little bit of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Everyone wanted to crown them as the new Golden State Warriors, but in the end, they've only won one Super Bowl. They've gotten to the AFC Championship a number of times, but only one Super Bowl on their resume in terms of victory. So I put in the rundown. I want to ask you guys this, and we'll get to your Streamlabs and Super Chats, ladies and gentlemen, as you're sending them in. But is it time for Andy to kind of hang it up here and hand this team off to Eric Bieniemy? And all these motherfuckers out here on social media trying to blame Eric Bieniemy for the play calling in that second half need to kiss my ass. Andy Reid is absolutely involved in these plays being sent in as well. So do you start to wonder that Bieniemy is maybe now the choice here? A younger guy, more offensive-minded genius, understands what's going on, the trends of the game a little bit better. Is this the choice, or do you let him run it back again one more year? What do you guys think?
That's a good question. I honestly feel like I know we keep getting upset that Bieniemy is not getting hired. I have this weird feeling that something's going on where they are honestly grooming the position for Eric to take over.
Yes,
I really do think that it's
Very
just
obvious.
until Andy decides to bounce.
Yeah.
I hope you don't end up with a Sean Payton scenario like the Cowboys did, where it was like Sean was the heir apparent, and then you decided to be mad disrespectful and go after someone else. And Sean was like, fine, bitch. And then went and won a goddamn title for New Orleans and led that team to being the dominant force in the NFC South for the last 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that we're about ready for Eric's time. But I think it really just, as Andy has, again, as the head coach, led them to 4 back-to-back, AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win.
He's 2-2. Did you mute yourself? Well,
you muted yourself.
Well, all right.
Mike, sometimes you like to just go out. Oh, but now I can't hear you at all. Lovely. Okay, well.
Yeah, check your sources on StreamYard, bud.
Let's switch to Ben. Ben, what do you think? I mean, like Daniel Savoy says here, it's a good
I got to
point.
reload. I'll be back.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
You're good now, but yeah.
Okay, he said run it back, 4 trips to the AFC Championship, 2 Super Bowl trips, 1 Super Bowl, run it back. Okay, do you think that makes sense?
It's tough.
It doesn't. It's
tough because, your first AFC loss was to the Patriots, which, had that questionable call in there. It's Tom Brady. You lose in overtime.
Yeah.
Then you win next year handily. And then the year against the Bucs, your entire line is injured.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is running for his life and still running for his life. He's having balls bounce off receivers' heads in the end zone. And it's like, okay, literally, like I've never felt more bad for a quarterback than I did in that game. Where just like, it looked like playground football, hike and just like running around the field looking for somebody. But this
throwing
year,
balls horizontally.
Yeah,
we're insane. Yeah.
This year it felt like that Eagles Andy Reid, where they look great, they make it to the conference championship, just like the Eagles did a bunch of times.
Yeah,
but only making it to the Super Bowl once. So I think I'm gonna probably sit on the fence a little bit on this one. With like, if they move on, I understand. But if they keep Andy Reid, I also understand. But they need to be careful and not lose Eric, because he's going to get a head coaching job somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of positions open. And now that they're out, he's going to start taking interviews. And I know we did this with Jason Garrett, paid him all the money to stay our offensive coordinator until Wade was officially done. And I don't think you want to do that. I don't think you want to have a 3-13 year with Andy Reid and leave him in shame and the team in shambles. So they need to either let Eric know and be like, this is Andy's last year,
right? And
then he's done, or now is your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heath Jones says it's kind of Andy Reid's thing to lose in the conference championship.
It is.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, let's be real. That was the thing with him as the Eagles, is that when he first is there, people don't know what to do with him, and he is balling out, right?
Yeah.
And that got him to that one title with Donovan, but Donovan's out here mad out of shape. T.O.'s playing with a broken leg. Like that Greg Jennings meme that we saw, that was T.O. before that meme, bro, where he's playing with a broken leg and is out here like balling on people. But it just wasn't enough, because if the story is that Donovan was in the huddle throwing up, either because he was out of shape or he was hungover or whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And then people started to figure out Andy Reid. The Cowboys, we stopped being scared of Andy Reid over time, because you're like, dude, we get you now. We know what's going on. I think that's starting to happen. You saw a number of division rivals kind of stick it to the Chiefs this year.
Yeah.
And I think they're finally figuring their stuff out. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Did I already tell the personal story about the Bengals fan?
Don't think so.
Or no.
No.
So this was what was so cool, man. So there was a guy there. He's probably late 40s, like salt and pepper all over the place, whatever. He's sitting there. Him and his buddies each had their own individual table. One dude was a Niners fan. He left before his friend had to watch his team fall apart. The dude in the middle was like, I got no horse in this race. These are just my boys. And this dude is Bengal out, bro. Bengal sweatshirt. He's got on black and orange shoes. He's got a Houday bracelet. Like, he is fully doing the damn thing, right? And this whole thing is happening. And then they go, like, he's freaking out because you gotta hold the Chiefs. If the Chiefs score a touchdown, there's not enough time. You don't have any timeouts. You're probably not going to be able to win the game. But they hold him to a field goal, so he's freaking out. They get OT. The coin toss goes to the Chiefs. He's freaking out again. They intercept him, and he is sitting here on the edge of his seat trying not to cry. The field goal goes through, and my guy, he doesn't fully stream, but when I say his eyes are just full of water, and I just go, dude, I am so happy for you. He's like, you don't get it. I've been watching them since I was a child. I was this high, and we've been trash, and we've had teams that look good that never do it.
Was he alive when they won a playoff game last?
Well, because he's in his 40s.
Gotcha.
So he was
So
just
he was
like,
a kid.
He was like, I was a kid, and I've been watching them every year.
Yeah.
I cannot believe this is happening right now. And I bought him a shot. I said, bro, I remember when the Mavs finally pulled it off and won and beat LeBron of all people after he made his whole decision. I know how this feels. I am so happy for you so much. Like, it was such a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed. And you know, they've been winning. I mean, it's been since the 1980s since they were in a Super Bowl. Remember, they opened
89, right?
89. Yeah. I mean, so it's been a bit. And both times they faced the 49ers. And certainly that looked like it was in play going into that fourth quarter there with the 49ers and the Rams. Another rematch between those two franchises. And we'll get to that in just a second. Let's jump into some of these Streamlabs and Super Chats. And ladies and gentlemen, keep sending them in here. I like to pay these gentlemen to hang out with me on the show. So your support helps me do that. So send in your Streamlabs and Super Chats. I've pinned the Streamlabs address in the chat. It's in the description of the video, and it is up there on the graphic. Curbside Profit dropping the first Super Chat here. Let's see if there's enough where I can go back and grab it. Yeah, he says, our 49ers definitely have a lot to be proud of. We knew we had holes, but great play from different parts of our team got us there. Got to patch the holes now. Yeah, your number one hole is quarterback. That's your number one hole. But certainly your defense figured it out as it went along. And I love the graphic they were showing during the game. I think it was Nance talking about it. All those different articles from SI.com saying that the Niners were finished. They didn't figure it out. That Kyle Shanahan was not a good coach. All kinds of things. And they turned it around and got themselves into an NFC championship. So, yeah, we'll see what holes you got to fill. Wiley Todd says, just popping in to say great streams yesterday, John. I will watch later after editing class at school. Peace. Thanks, Wiley. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody who joined me yesterday for my watch-alongs on Twitch. That was a lot of fun. And y'all have some fun takes. Let me just leave it at that. Y'all have some fun takes during the watch-alongs. Justin Toner said, hi, guys. 2 great games yesterday. The NFL playoffs have delivered. AFC is going to be crazy next season. My Bills and the Chiefs have to now deal with Cincy's rise. Bills playing both of these teams next season on the schedule. Bills' path to getting to the Super Bowl just got way tougher. Yeah, you look at the AFC, you got Justin Herbert coming on with these Chargers. Now you got Josh McDaniels coaching the Raiders. Who is he going to find, or is he going to stick with Carr? What does Vrabel do with Tennessee? Do they get rid of Tannehill? Do they bring in a new quarterback? Who's going to replace Roethlisberger there in Pittsburgh? What's going to happen with Baker in Cleveland? There's a lot of moving pieces here. And then you got Lamar Jackson and the Ravens now taking an off year. What is their hunger going to be like going into next season? So there's a lot here to play with. What do you guys think about this AFC picture as it's shaping up for next season?
It is crazy, like how forgotten Lamar Jackson has been, like so quickly. When that guy's a playmaker. And I know they had a down year, but just everybody else's stock, like Justin Herbert and now Joe Burrow, everyone had already queued in like, can't wait for this Bills-Chiefs rivalry to go back and forth like Cowboys-Niners. It's like, whoa. Now the Bengals are here. And like, it's just like, okay, what about that rivalry? And so it's a great problem to have. And I would not be surprised if like Josh McDaniels picks up the phone to Aaron Rodgers, like, hey, you see this offense we got going on over here? Because they could get some, like, Derek Carr isn't a bad quarterback. He could go to the Titans. He could make the Titans better than Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers could go to the Titans. Like, there's so many moving pieces of what they could get out of it.
Right.
But it is so sad to see that the Niners were one Eli Manning in the playoffs away from winning a Super Bowl, because Eli's not the best quarterback, but those 2 years, he was flawless, and they just needed not even Jimmy to be flawless, just don't mess up, and he couldn't do that. And it's like, I hate Bay Area fans, because the area fans, they're not happy that their team won. They're happy that they get to talk shit to other people. Because
sounds like Boston, bro.
No, that's the thing. Fans. You grew up, like, I'm from Texas. You grew up in Texas, and like you had to deal with like the Boston fans and stuff. I had to deal with Niners and then like suddenly everyone was a San Francisco Giants fan. Right. Somehow everyone's suddenly a Warriors fan. It's like, no, you weren't. You really weren't, and it's okay. But stop playing. But yeah, and then growing up like against Niners fans, it's just like they're so happy. One, that the Cowboys are losing, and then two, like I had people jumping in my chat like, hey, how about the Niners? Like, we're out of the playoffs. I don't care. Congratulations for beating the Packers. I was rooting for the Niners against the Packers because Aaron Rodgers are annoying.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just like, I'm so happy the Niners lost, and it couldn't have been in a better way, where it's just like, you have 2 minutes, 2 timeouts, and this quarterback that you've chosen to be your franchise, what can he do? And it's absolutely nothing.
We'll touch on it as well. And one more thing here, Winston, coming back to this conversation about the quarterbacks, let's not forget Deshaun Watson is still in play. No matter what, we're still wondering what those sexual assault allegations, what is that going to lead to? If he goes to Miami, now Miami becomes a contender here. And if Rodgers goes to Denver, which is the big rumor because they hired the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator, there's a plethora of arms now in the AFC, and it's all up for grabs on that side of the coin, for God's sakes.
Dude, I mean, if that happens, that actually opens the NFC up even more, because there's a lot of stuff in shambles. It's one of those situations with even, Jimmy G. Jimmy G reminds me a lot of Alex Smith. So he'll give you those moments from time to time when you're like, damn, he won us a game, but that's not necessarily his DNA.
You're not going to slander Alex Smith like that. You're not going to slander Alex Smith like that.
They play very similar styles of game, man. They both kept getting hurt. Obviously Alex Smith got hurt.
Yeah.
And like that was holy God. But they would be nagged by little injuries here and there. They were really more game managers. They would maybe have a big play once every 3 to 4 games.
Yeah.
And they're really just there to make sure the team doesn't fall apart. And the minute the team got put on their back, though, what happened? There's a reason why they moved on from Alex Smith and started working with Kaepernick. There's a reason
he got hurt.
Yeah. Yes, but then he was healthy enough to come back, and they did not put Alex Smith back in.
They didn't put Drew Bledsoe back in either.
There is a reason why you didn't put Alex Smith back in with Patrick Mahomes. Yes, the massive leg shattering, but even before that happened, there was
you can't pass over a life-threatening injury.
No, I said before that happened. If I remember correctly, I'm maybe getting the timelines wrong, but before that happened, didn't he have a smaller injury that happened? They put in Patrick Mahomes, and then there was the debate of who are we going to give this to, one way or the other.
Yes.
He eventually did have to play. His leg damn near got torn off. He was out for a minute, and then he ended up not back in Kansas City. He ended up in Washington, which he had a great swan song there.
Yeah.
I thought that was wonderful.
Alex Smith is a winner. Like, I don't care about stats. Alex Smith is a winner. And like, I know he's not the best quarterback, but he brought the Niners to the NFC Championship. brought the Chiefs to, I think, the divisional round in the AFC, and then both times got injured and taken over by younger, better quarterbacks. That's okay to happen, but he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I honestly think, but that's the thing though. Jimmy was putting up numbers before he had that first injury that took him out for a season. Right. If we go and look at him when he got to San Francisco, when it was time for him to go, everybody was like, man, you just got paid. You better do something. And he was doing something.
Yes, true.
And he got hurt. And then when he came back, he really never was the same. He kind of gave me the same kind of stuff where occasionally you'd have a game where like, damn, Jimmy put up 450 and 3 touchdowns today. Cool. But then otherwise it's like, well, Jimmy put up 185 and an interception.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you put prime Alex Smith in that situation on Sunday, he wins the game.
Fair enough. Let's
move on. We're not talking about prime. We're talking about where they are at this particular stage. Jimmy's at a similar stage.
Alex, we got a hard out in 50 minutes. We can't argue this. We got to get some other things. Let's keep going. Roberto Arsenal sent the Streamlab in and says, the owner of the Rams is the owner of my beloved Arsenal. How about you fucking put some damn effort on Arsenal too, damn it. With that said, I think the Rams win. Look, your Arsenal's playing fine this year. They were shit last year. They figured it out. They're not great, but they're doing better than they did last year. Give them some time. And you're sending Obama Yang to Barcelona anyway. What do you care? Fred Tastic 314 says, football is the ultimate team sport. Cincy's defense solidified and allowed Burrow and the offense to find a groove to put points on the board and ultimately win the game. I see many Cincy KC championship games in the future. Well, maybe. What do you guys think? Yes? Do you see this happening multiple times going forward in the next few years?
Oh, of what? Of what?
Cincinnati versus Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
No. There's a lot. Let's be real. The Bills are monsters.
Yeah.
They really just got eked out here. Let's not pretend that. When Derrick Henry is healthy, the Titans are monsters. Right. Now, mind you, the reason why the Titans were just okay in the playoffs, Derrick Henry was not at 100%. He was healthy enough to play, but he was not Derrick. If Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry, the Bengals are not going to the Super Bowl. I'm just going to be real with it. There's some magic in the water, but Derrick Henry, multiple times people came up, when he puts his arm up, everybody starts to go, oh, Jesus. Like for those that are anime fans, whenever Pain would be like, Tensei, and just is ready to just launch people across that's what it's like when Derrick Henry puts his arm up. But that's not what happened here. So no, the AFC has too much talent. We just talked about Lamar Jackson. We just talked about Deshaun Watson maybe going to the Dolphins. Too much talent for this to be a constant, but it could potentially continue to happen. But I'm not just going to say that this is now just the Bengals and Chiefs. Absolutely not.
Okay. The playoffs are like every playoff from the divisional round was a game winner, was a walk-off. Like you can't guarantee like anybody's going to be going back and forth. Like we thought so many times, like even in basketball, we always thought it was going to be the Warriors in Cleveland for, back to back to back for so long. So I don't know. I hope so, but I think the AFC is going to be tight for the next few years with all the teams. Yeah. Because, the Chargers just missed out for calling a timeout. The Bengals wouldn't even be in the playoffs if it wasn't for the Chargers calling a timeout. Oh, my God. It's so funny.
Wait, is that true? No, they won the Bengals?
No, they won the North. They won the North.
They won the North. But the Steelers wouldn't have been.
The Steelers would have been. That's what it was.
Yeah, the Steelers are not.
It was like, thanks, everybody. Wait, they did what? They did what now? Oh, my God.
Jessica says, the question to ask about the Chiefs, do you tinker, staff, and roster, or do you let it ride? They hosted 4 AFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowl appearances. When you tilt too much, you lose focus and throw opportunity off the boat.
You tinker. You make sure you have a backup running back that can help you out because you had a lot of injuries there, and you find another receiver. I love how good Hill is. I love how good Kelsey is. You need another receiver, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
The minute one of the two of them is done, and Kelsey had his moments of being Travis Kelce, but he did see there was a small period of time where we were like, is Kelsey starting to decline? The minute one of them goes out, their offense is in trouble because you saw how much they tried to force feed Hill when, say, Kelsey wasn't doing well, or they tried to force feed Kelsey when you were seeing Hill getting all these double teams that were kind of slowing him down. You have to find some other weapon if something happens with them.
They've got Mecole Hardman, they got Pringle, and they got Edwards-Helaire, but those guys, and McKinnon, but they're running mostly out of the backfield. Those receivers, they're not the ones going downfield. So it's a valid point you make, Winston. Sorry, Ben, what were you going to say?
They just need that sure-handed, good route runner. Like he's not like a Patrick Creighton. He's not going to break games, but like he's not going to drop balls.
Right.
He's going to be exactly where you need him to be. And so when you have like these breakout plays, because Winston's right, when one of them went down for a play or two, when one of them just wasn't getting open, the offense would tilt so hard, and you would see like Patrick, like I this is just nobody. And so you just need that sure-handed guy back there, and you need to redo your secondary.
Yeah,
Sorensen is not the answer. I don't ever want to put someone out of a job, but when Honey Badger goes down and your entire defense blows up, you can't have that anymore. Like the days are gone where like you could just have a Charles Woodson, back there roaming around and fixing all the holes and everything like that. So you need to shore up that secondary.
I think you make a great point, Ben, because if you look at the Bills game and you look at this game here against the Bengals, there's the second receiver behind the top receiver was having a career game. T. Higgins killed him. Gabriel Davis killed him last week with 4 touchdowns because they were shutting down Stephon Diggs and they shut down Jamar Chase. But if you shut down those guys and just let the other dude have a monster game, you haven't really done much, because the star could have had the monster game while you were shutting down everyone else, and the results would have been the same. So, there's got to be some work done in that secondary to handle 2 receivers so you don't have these issues popping up here as they had in the last 2 games. So, great points by both you guys. And shout out to Peggy Gubbins, who's joining us. Chicago Bears. Peggy Gubbins says, if the Bears sort out their O-line, don't forget Justin Fields. Well, we were talking about the AFC, not the NFC, Peggy, but I get it. You got it. You got a stump for your boy Justin Fields, and I respect that.
I'll forget about Justin Fields for now. I'm sorry, Peggy. I'll just be real with you. I'm going to forget about Justin Fields.
I'm not forgetting about Justin Fields because of Justin Fields. I'm forgetting about Justin Fields because the Bears is a trash organization that ruins quarterbacks. I am so scared they're going to ruin that man.
God.
I am so scared they're going to. Jay has admitted that. Jay is like, we got a black quarterback. That ain't never happened. The boy got wheels and an arm. I'm like, please, Jesus. But also, it's the Bears. And he was like, they will ruin this man. I really don't want that to happen.
I mean, I'm looking at Justin Fields and Trey Lance, and I'm looking to see what happens with these guys in the next season, because no way Jimmy G is there. So Trey Lance now will get an extended run. Justin Fields is going to get an extended run next year. So we'll see what we have in these 2 black quarterbacks in their respective organizations. And I'm curious to see. Joshua Singleton says, sorry guys, missed the show live. I want to donate as I always watch this fantastic show while I drive at work. Great weekend of NFL again. Absolutely, Joshua. Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us. And 2 last ones here. Vegetable Tube says, Cincinnati Bengals, who day? Whose house? Rams house. Go Rams. Showing some love for his Rams there. A lot of people there. We had Kaiser and Barbarian and Smets showing up at the Rams game as well. So they must have enjoyed that.
That's expensive.
It's expensive. Barbarian, where you get your money, Barbarian? I need to know where he gets his money.
We don't make that much money in the Schmodown. Where the fuck you get that money from?
like, I'm not going to ask where Kaiser got the money from, because I don't want to be implicit in whatever deals he's making. But Barbarian, where'd you get that money?
I just see Ben sitting in the back of Kaiser's car just crying as he eats a sandwich.
Right.
I'll tell you come along with me for the ride because we're going to make some money tonight. You're coming
Trust
in
me,
here.
we're going to get those Cowboys tickets. I promise.
I promise. Don't you worry about it. Bobby donated here. Just Bobby says, look at these studs. Thanks for doing the show. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
All right, let me take that comment down. Let's move on real quickly. This Rams game, we talked all around it and touched on it a little bit more. But the Rams took care of business behind their star quarterback here, Matt Stafford, who's done an incredible job taking this team in his first year, a la Tom Brady, to the Super Bowl after leaving another franchise, albeit a less successful one, in the Detroit Lions. And Cooper Kupp stepping up yet again. But the defense, who had been kind of quiet most of the game, and I'm talking about Aaron Donald and Von Miller, showed up in that last drive, and Jimmy G turned into an absolute flopping fish on the boat in those last 2 drives and cost the 49ers a chance to get to the Super Bowl. The thing that they were most afraid of, which is also what screwed them in the Super Bowl when they played the Chiefs a couple of years ago, relying on Jimmy G to drive you down to get critical points in the game. He blew it yet again. At some point, you have to understand This is this guy's ceiling, and I don't anticipate him coming back to the 49ers next year. So, Ben, I go to you first. What do you think of this game? What do you take away from this game? You said the Rams were maybe shaky a little bit, but do you have faith in their offensive weapons and their defense to step up here in the Super Bowl after this game against the 49ers?
You know, I still think Kyle Shanahan is just living rent-free in Sean McVay's head. They might have won this game.
Still,
but
yeah.
I'm sorry, you have Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Ramsey, and like the star-studded defense.
Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, just they were, like I said, they were paper champions from day one, and they made it. Congratulations. But man, just like he got out-coached for 55 minutes.
Probably, yeah.
Literally just Shanahan just needed someone to not drop the ball. And I'm not trying to go too hard at Jimmy, because, you know, defense plays too. Like the defense.
Yeah.
It's just hard not to, because that's such a focused thing where it's like, you got the 2-minute drive, you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
And like Shanahan played, like, just had the perfect game plan of going away from the defensive stars, getting the ball out of Jimmy's hands, you know, putting the ball in Debo's hands, putting the ball in Kittle's hands. Like, you had good plays drawn up, and then you just saw the lead get chipped away.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have asked for a better moment for the Niners to come out on top. This is the game that you wanted the Rams to have and Stafford to have. Mm-hmm. And I mean, as much as we can put this on Jimmy, you got to put it on that cornerback that dropped the interception.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't like oh man, it hit him in the hands. It hit him in the breadbasket.
Yeah.
Like that was a borderline punt return catch that you need to make, because Stafford just threw it up there, and you have to do that.
But I do want to be fair here, Ben. I do want to be fair. Even if he had gotten the interception, do you really trust Jimmy G to have led them down the field, or do you trust him to have thrown an interception?
I think they were still losing at the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he would have been called on to put more points on the board, and it could have been an easy 3-and-out with how Jimmy's head was in that final quarter.
Maybe you go to overtime, you know, they run off enough time. Maybe they only have time to tie the game up, because the Rams couldn't get in the end zone.
Yeah,
like they were playing very, very conservatively. Like when they got that ball, they were like, we don't even want to try for the end zone. We're just gonna, and that shows the kind of faith. And that's Sean McVay being like, we can kick a field goal right here, because Jimmy's not going to drive on us to win the game. He might get, you know, a lucky break from Debo to tie the game, but they're not driving to win the game with a touchdown here. And that, I'm just thinking that I kind of do favor the Bengals in this game. And I know Sean's a good enough coach to play differently against a better quarterback and a better receiving core, but they got to switch up the game plan, because they banked heavily on like, we don't need to worry about Jimmy. We just need to rush him and he will fold. And he did, but that's not going to happen against the Bengals. So I respect the Rams for winning the game, but they were like, we just need to win and get out of here. And like, that's how they played it.
Okay. What did you think, Winston? I mean, you spoke last week. You said it's tough to beat a team 3 times, and eventually the Rams did get over that hump in the third matchup here. And the 49ers, no disrespect, I mean, again, they beat Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. They took care of business in Dallas against Dak Prescott. So this was a tough defense coming into this game. So I anticipated a tighter game. I thought maybe eventually they'd pull away, but this was way tighter than I thought it was going to be all the way to the end here. What do you take away from how the Rams played this game? Do you agree with a lot of what Ben said, or did you see something else in them that might make you think they'd win the Super Bowl?
The Niners all season, but especially throughout the playoffs, have been a team that hits the nitrous at the beginning of the race. They came out and smacked the Cowboys in the mouth and scored a touchdown, and then stopped us dead in our tracks. I want to say a 3-and-out to start the game. And what did they do to end the game? They damn near blew it. Like, let's be real. True. Now, mind you, we should have done better. Like, there's no reason we should have been manhandled like that. But you had that. You had the same thing with Green Bay here, where they were kind of handling their business, but they almost let it slip. What ended up saving them is that the Green Bay Packers have literally the worst special teams in the league.
Yes,
like crazy. That's not an exaggeration. They are number 32 ranked special teams in the league, and you ended up with a blocked punt and a field goal, and that ended up, one was a pick 6, and the other set you up to go kick your own field goal to win the game. Right. So now when you're talking about against the Rams, which are your division rival, and they're mad and they want to come for you, you come out swinging. You're knocking them in the mouth. You're doing everything you need to do. But as we get further along in this game, you're slipping. And you're slipping. And the proof of that, I feel so bad for that corner. And I applaud him for being that man and being like, I let my brothers down, put all the blame on me. If he catches that interception, I honestly believe that this game is over based off of time. You look at the fact that McVay, remember, used both challenges, lost them both. They have
one
timeout. They have like one timeout left, or maybe none at that point. That game is pretty much over because of where they were positioned, where they would have been positioned with the interception as well. They could at least get a field goal. The Rams are screwed, right?
Right.
So the Niners do have to figure out how to finish games. They obviously, like, again, that it looks like when you look at the Dallas game, that's more on us not knowing how to finish a game than you know what I'm saying? If McCarthy coaches better, you hand the ball to the official, and then you have a genuine shot to win that, right? We shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. The Niners should have ended that earlier.
Yes.
So that's I think the two big things you look at with the Niners. You figure out how you finish, and you figure out your quarterback. If you can do both of those things with Debo playing the way Debo plays, which is insane.
Yeah.
When you look at that Niners defense, which is really pretty damn good, this team would be damn near unstoppable.
Yeah,
but they're not there yet.
Winston, you make excellent points here, and I want to swing back and ask you both this real quick, and we'll move on to other stories here. But I mean, everyone's thinking Aaron Rodgers in Denver, and certainly I brought it up, and I just brought up all those arms that are going to be in the AFC. And Winston, you said all those arms in the AFC opens up the door in the NFC. Someone mentioning here in the chat, does Aaron Rodgers look west and move to San Francisco with that defense? Deebo Samuel, Eli Mitchell, that coach with Shanahan. Is this the better combination?
You know he can't, right?
Why?
Because think about it. It's the same thing it's the same thing that the NBA is going through. If he refuses to get vaccinated, the rules in California, he would not be alled to play home games based on the fact that he doesn't get vaccinated. That literally is not an option.
Play or something?
It's literally not an option. It's the same reason that Andrew Wiggins broke down and was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that wouldn't work, unfortunately.
Pay him enough, maybe. That's a great point. I hadn't thought about the COVID situation, but yeah, he'd have to get vaccinated in California for sure to be playing on this team. Fascinating stuff. Didn't think about that, but
yeah,
because that situation is ready made for him to step right in, turn the keys in the ignition, and take that car to the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, that corner dropped the pass with like 9:45 left in the game, and they go on. The next play is that big pass to OBJ with the penalty, and so that's like a 45-yard play or something like that, and then they kick the field goal to tie it. So that's such a momentum shift. But again, like, I think Kyle Shanahan's in the right spot. I don't know. Like, do you think they really commit to Trey Lance next year? Like, do you think they just give him the reins?
I think he's played sporadically this year, and they like some of what he did in spot up work for Jimmy G. So, and in a couple games he couldn't play for his injury or whatever. So, I think they like what they have in him. Do I think they hand him the reins? I think the offseason's going to tell us where he lands. So if you go get Rodgers, it's really an interesting choice because you moved up to get Trey Lance. You remember he moved up to pick him. So do you still think he's not ready to step in there? Joe Burrow is in a Super Bowl in his second year. So you got to look at this situation and say, like, well, do you think you've got what you need to see in Trey Lance and take a chance over the next couple of years to groom him and get him in the right position? Can the defense carry them like they carried Jimmy G this year, essentially, to an NFC championship possibility here, or NFC championship game with a Super Bowl possibility on the line? I wonder. But if Rodgers is there, and as Winston points out, the COVID situation, if they solve that, I think you go get Rodgers, because also Rodgers is a temporary fill. Lance is going to be there for a while, and you let Rodgers coach Lance to get him to become a better quarterback, and then you're in a way better situation than when you got here, because there's no way Alex Smith isn't a part of the process of the maturation for Patrick Mahomes. There's no way. That veteran was so smart and taught Patrick so much. You could have the same situation.
I agree with that. And I think there's a couple things. So first of all, a lot of people are like, well, Kyrie just played in San Francisco. The rule is if you are a part of a team, you are not allowed to be there if the state that you call home, so if you are from California, Andrew Wiggins would not have been allowed to play a single home game because of that. Since it was an away game, Kyrie can play in that. That's why he played here in San Francisco. Away people can play unvaccinated. That is allowed because you're there for like a day or so. It's being there continuously that's the problem. So that's the first thing. The second thing, Rodgers, remember, is from NorCal. He wanted to be a 49er, yet Alex Smith is the one that got the #1 overall pick, and that has been a chip on his shoulder forever. So I would not be surprised, but again, it just depends on how that rule is going to go, though someone did point out, as far as it being kind of a joke right now, remember the NFL decided about a week or two ago, they were just going to, we're done COVID testing. We're not doing that anymore. They made that open decision that they were going to do that. I'm like, okay. So you have all of that there. Now, I agree with you. If you're just talking about like pen to paper, what does this team look like if Aaron Rodgers goes? I would go so far as to say that they become the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Yes, 1,000,000%.
But do you think Rodgers will let Shanahan coach? Because so much of what 49ers have done is like, because they're not the Rams. They're not like paper champions where you look at the roster like, oh my God, this team is a win now team. It's Shanahan putting the right plays on the board for them to, like, Deebo Samuels is probably the one guy that you look at like, this guy would succeed anywhere.
Yes, 100%.
Like he's like the one, maybe Kittle. Kittle's pretty good as well.
Yes.
But those two guys are like the one, like plug and play people, like put them anywhere, they're going to succeed. Right. Everybody else on that team is like, because of Shanahan is the reason they're in the NFC Championship. Yeah. They're the reason they beat the Packers. They're the reason they beat the Cowboys. And they're the reason they should have beat the Rams last night.
Yeah.
So do you think Rodgers comes in at 38 years old with all his baggage and is like, no, Shanahan, this is still your team? Or does Rodgers take it over?
I think go ahead. No, John.
I think he does. And the reason I think he does is because he's had so many shit coaches that he's had to kind of, and look, he's letting LaFleur coach, and LaFleur has almost no pedigree as a head coach until he took over for the Packers. So seeing Shanahan's success, where he's taking the husk of Jimmy G to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship in 3 years, that's pretty incredible. So that's I think that's a pedigree you can pitch to Aaron Rodgers. And I'm sure Shanahan's the kind of guy to sit down with Aaron and goes, oh my God, I got so much more I can do now with a quarterback like you. And they come up, just like Arians did with Tom Brady, they come up with an offense that works for Aaron Rodgers and brings out the best in both of them as coach and quarterback. Winston?
I agree with you. And I also think people saying he wouldn't train Lance because he didn't with Love. Well, the difference is they did with Love what they did with Favre and Rodgers.
Right.
That to him was a slap in the face of like, we went and got I need another weapon. Cool. We went and got a quarterback that is going to be our quarterback of the future. You did what? So that's I do not blame him for being like, I'm not going to help you because you're not helping me. So I get that. But I think if you go to San Fran, you go to try and win a chip, you of course help that kid because he ain't do nothing to you. Yeah. And so you know you're gonna be there for a little bit. You'll be like, all right, cool, got you, dude, and then you're out of there. If he goes there, I can see that happening. And like you said, this is a coach that did it without someone of Aaron's caliber. And when Ben, you brought up at 38, bro, he just won the MVP again. Like he's still.
No, I'm saying like where he's at in his career. Like I'm not like Aaron Rodgers can still get it. That's not my issue at all. Like look at Tom Brady. Like that's not a thing at all. But I'm just saying like where he's at in his career, like mentally of like if I go like I could see him doing it like with the Titans, like because Mike Vrabel, he's a good coach, but he's not like the coach or the reason why they're there. And I think like maybe the Titans are a better fit because. One, like, I mean, they've got Julio Jones and what's the other? AJ Brown.
AJ Brown.
On the outside, Derrick Henry behind him. And it's just like, okay, this is perfect.
Yeah. The only reason I disagree with that, I would still make the argument at this particular juncture, hence all the parity that happened in the AFC. And we just talked about how many cannons are over there. Yeah. I think the AFC right now is a little deadlier. I can see Aaron going to another NFC team potentially because it's a little easier to go off and win right now because the NFC is still trying to figure out their identity right now. There's maybe 2 or 3 teams that because like I would love to say the Cowboys are one of those teams. Who knows? We may be shit all over again next year, bro.
Who knows?
Like real talk. The only
we'll be a threat in the regular season like always and then fold when it comes to the actual time. But no, you're right. Like looking at the NFC teams, like if Brady's actually retired, then the Bucks are irrelevant again.
Yeah, they are.
Saints aren't going to be much without Sean Payton or a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Falcons
ain't shit.
I'm trying to think of like, I mean, the Rams will be there again next year.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to just think of like, if Rodgers leaves the Packers, they won't be anything.
Dude, what if Rodgers goes to the Saints? You just need a coach down there. Holy crap, him and Kamara, that Saints defense.
If Peyton was still there, I'd say Rodgers to the Saints, but he needs a win now team.
Peyton ain't dealing with his ass. Peyton would not have Coach Rodgers.
I mean, look what happens to Russell Wilson in Seattle. That's going to be a big question mark. Will Kyler Murray and Kingsbury now bounce back after the experience of this year and be an even stronger, more dangerous team next year? But yeah, I mean, you look at running down the list here. Atlanta's is a trash fire. Carolina Panthers are a dumpster fire. The Vikings, who knows what's going to happen to Kirk Cousins now? The Lions, golf is a joke. The Bears, who knows what you have with Lance there, and the Giants. Daniel Jones is a wreck now. And the Eagles, maybe Jalen Hurts bounces back and plays better, but I don't think you're going to get much more out of Jalen Hurts than what you got this year. And my Washington football team, or should I say the Washington Commanders, oh, God, what a name. Who knows?
Is that official?
Did you announce that it got announced?
That it has got announced, but that is pretty much what's leaking out, and they've started buying up commanders.com websites. Commanders.io. So that's the big movement that is Washington Commanders are going to announce.
It should be the Washington football team NFTs. So the WFT NFTs.
WFT NFTs. Holy crap.
Well, I just it, man. The fucking Commanders. It's such a horrible name. So Aaron Rodgers would be a fool to roll into the AFC when you're looking at it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, the NFC is probably where Rodgers will stay, like looking at that. Because the Cardinals could bounce back, but yeah, the Cowboys, like again, on paper we look good, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah,
I have zero faith in us in the playoffs. I'm just trying to the list you just went down. There's really nothing.
I have kind of zero faith in us in the regular season. Let me be 100% honest right now. Look, we had some incredible wins.
Yeah.
If you look, we had the softest schedule in the NFL based on where we were the year previously.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got to play a lot of scrubs who we kind of manhandled.
Yeah.
I am genuine. Like when you go and look at some of the better teams, the Chiefs, the Bucks, shouldn't even lost to Denver. All of these teams that had like some real thing going for them. The only quality win I could think of was the Chargers, and the Chargers can't decide when they shouldn't call timeouts to go to the playoffs. So
yeah, fair enough.
Anyway,
all right.
Anyway.
F. James 72 says, hey, Ben, would you like my dead carcass on this show or yours? I don't know what that means.
James is a big Bay Area fan. And he was in my chat talking all that mess. It's like, what are you going to do when the Niners are in the Super Bowl? I don't know, dude. Go fucking enjoy it. I don't care.
I guess you don't have to worry about it now.
You don't have to worry about that now.
Well, speaking of the NFC, let's move to that. Oh, wait, real quick, pin you down. No reasons. Just give me your feelings. Maybe quickly a couple of words. Who you got in the Super Bowl, Rams or Bengals here? Winston, I'll go with you first.
Bro, my heart has not led me astray yet. I think the Bengals are going to do this, bro. I think they're going to do something that hasn't happened for them. They're going to win a Super Bowl, and I think the legend of Joey Burrow is about to start, bro. Like I feel like we all going to be smoking cigars in 2 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Ben?
Is it this week or next Sunday?
No, it's next
Sunday.
It's in 2 weeks, February 13th.
Like if it was this Sunday, it'd be 100% Bengals because they're just got the momentum. But I still think I am gonna still take the Bengals. I think, and I mean, like we're all talking about like OBJ and Stafford finally. Okay, Stafford's been to the playoffs. He just choked, and OBJ's also was on a decent Giants team that couldn't do anything either. So it's not like these underdog guys are finally.
Well, come on now. Let's be realistic about some of what's going on. The Giants team was okay, but Eli Manning was starting to become super trash.
I'm sorry, who did Stafford have in his receiving corps? There's a guy.
Calvin Johnson. One person.
All right,
Calvin Johnson.
One word.
Bengals for the ring.
Bengals.
Right.
Let's go.
Bengals.
I say Rams, and that's what I think. And I think 2 weeks of preparation. I think McVay is going to have that team ready. I think you've got Aaron Donald, Von Miller. I just think you got too many weapons here, and the Bengals are going to have some issues across the board with that. But we'll see. I just want to see a damn good game. And whoever comes out of it, I think we can be happy for the young kid or for the veteran who left a dumpster fire Detroit Lions to be in a position to win a Super Bowl. So we shall see. But let's move on to our next story. And our next story is Tom Brady actually retiring or not? I don't know what's going on here. Adam Schefter announced it. Everybody ran with their website, everyone ran with their stories on their websites, everybody posting up Tom Brady numbers. And then Bleacher Report reported that Tom Brady is actually very far from making a decision on his retirement. And so now everybody's like, well, is he going to retire? And we had to bring a special expert in to talk about it. And here he is, straight from Hollywood, California, or the Valley, I think. JT.
Oh my gosh.
So I heard Brady, the name Brady, and I just manifested in front of my computer. I got to talk.
JT, talk to me. Is Tom Brady retiring or not? What the hell is going on? Or is he playing everybody like he always does, like a violin?
I think he probably is. I think he was mad that they leaked it out. I think he had a lot of people are saying like he likes to make these videos and make a big show of it. I think that's part of it. Also, apparently he gets like a couple, like $15 million more if he's still on the roster for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of money. So of course he's going to stay on for that. But I heard a couple people say maybe he'll retire and come out of retirement and sign up with San Francisco 49ers because that was his home team growing up. That's where he grew up. And look at all the weapons. Imagine Brady on that team instead of Garoppolo. Automatic Super Bowl. But
wow.
Listen, what? JT fucking E? I like this from Ecuador.
Warlord from Ecuador. Yes. I love that.
Damn right. But I would love to see him play one more year. Personally, I don't want to see him go. I wouldn't be surprised.
He led the league, JT.
I know. He should be MVP over Rodgers, in my opinion.
Can you just go to a team that I don't have? Like, I guess I didn't have beef with the Bucks. If I think about it, I really didn't have beef with the Bucks. It was more just.
You don't want to see him on the 49ers. I know. I get that.
If he's on the 49ers, I'm burning everything down. I'm burning it all.
He could. Someone put it, although they spelled it wrong. Senior Nerd said he pulling Brett Favre. He could retire, wait a year, come back with Sean Payton, who's also taking a year off, and go to that 49ers team or go to some other team and lead them to a Super Bowl. That's possible too.
I think Brady could. I like the Brady Shanahan thing. I won't be surprised either way. Congrats to Adam Schefter for getting all the Twitter metrics and stuff like that. The retweets and stuff. You're doing great, sweetie. But
dude,
just it's insane. Like I don't know.
That shit pissed me off. It reminded me too much of what has happened in like journalism recently. I normally. I obviously have mad respect for Schefter and everything that he's done as that big senior NFL, insider. But dude, this reminds me of when DMX, they prematurely were like, DMX is gone. When Kobe went down and they were talking, I know those are much bigger stories. You're talking about somebody dying, but it's this idea that you just have to be first. And in doing so, you set off this domino effect that then is just kind of chaos. The fact that then what doesn't make sense to me, how is it that the people working at Tom Brady's company who have a direct line to Brady didn't immediately go, oh, we saw Schefter said this. Should we call Tom and ask? Nah, go run it. Thank you for everything, Tom. And then have to be like, and retract that stick. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's what makes me think it's coming. It just wasn't supposed to come out that early. Yeah. And that they were all prepared for it.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think you make an excellent point, JT. He does like to make these videos and these pronouncements and do whatever. And he's been certainly active on TikTok himself, trolling like a mofo, like only Tom Brady can. And so you wonder if this was something that he wanted to have coordinated and having it leak out. And it's surprising because Schefter usually sends emails to people before he's about to kind of call them out on Twitter and get some love from them and see if it's okay if he posts this. So I'm surprised that this happened, especially for someone like Brady, who's so very much a control freak. How this was able to leak out. This is like the Godfather getting shot in the street. 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to get to him, but it sounds like they got to Tom Brady and got some information from some of his people here. And in the end, though, I mean, if he does retire, is this the way he wants to go out? I think Tom Brady would bristle at a farewell tour, don't you?
Wait. In my mind, I just think I realized what happened. What if it was like one of Brady's kids? They know Uncle Schefter, and they were just like, "Yeah, Daddy said that he's done. Like he's gonna come and hang with us a little bit more." And he's like, "I got it from the kids. Like we good. You want to go hang with the babies?"
It's Giselle's sister. That's who it was. Giselle's sister let it out.
You know what's also interesting is I've been watching Man in the Arena.
Oh yeah. Oh, of
and
course you are.
Everyone was waiting for episode 10 last week, and it never dropped.
Yep.
And everyone's like, "What's going on here?" So a lot of people are speculating that episode 10 will be the recap of the Tampa and his farewell kind of goodbye. So that's also a possibility because, like, why did they drop it? Why are they holding on to it?
Yeah, it seems
that
odd.
could be it.
But it seems like a wrong time to go. If you led the league as the quarterback at this age, he said he wanted to play into his late 40s. He'd be 45 going into training camp.
45. If I remember, he said he wanted to play till 45.
Warren Moon was 67 and still playing quarterback. So to me, I could see him stepping in and staying. And he's not one of these running quarterbacks who gets destroyed like we've seen before. He's a pocket quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good O-line. He can play for another year and give them a shot. I mean, they almost beat these Rams.
You know? I know.
I'll just be honest with you, man. I get it because he was still playing at that high level. And I do understand that that's got to be some sort of crazy high whenever you're like, there are people that will never win a championship in any of their fields. And for him to do it 7 times, I totally see him being like, I'll win 8, I'll win 9.
Yeah.
Talk about a moment where you probably should have just called it last postseason, even though he was, he didn't win MVP, but he still led the league this season. Look at Peyton Manning, who was like, most people don't get to leave on top. You know what I'm saying? I feel lucky that I did. There's a part of me that saw this happen with Brady. And if he had left like that, to be like, I told you I didn't need Belichick. I mean, we did good things, but I could do it on my own. I wouldn't want it for another city. I did my thing. Everybody have a good life. How baller would that have been? And now I feel like he might come back just because he doesn't want to go out like this.
Yeah, maybe.
So at the very least, he feels like he needs to get to another championship round before he calls it. You know what I mean? But that would be my guess.
I think Joseph Ashley said it best, Ben. He said he wants to get 10 rings like Shang-Chi. So I could see that. Ben, what were you going to say? Oh, you're muted, bud. Or I came back.
Sorry, I muted because I was coughing. I just the way he went out, like if he had gone out, if that score at halftime had kind of stayed the same, it'd be one thing. I'd be like, oh man, he wants to come back. But Brady did his job. Yeah. Defense needed to make one stop to send them into overtime, and they let the number 1 receiver get behind them. Yeah. So, but like he came back from 27-3 or something like that. I think the score was at halftime. He almost did it all
over again, bro.
Yeah,
he did it all over again. Yeah. And so just like if he does go out, it's just like we didn't lose because of me. Like I did my job, and the defense had to make one stop to get us into overtime or to get me the ball back and make him some miracle or something.
Yeah.
But if he comes back, I don't see him doing it with the Buccaneers because I think, Bruce Arians, I don't know what's going on with that Antonio Brown situation and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think, we saw just like the weapons fall away one at a time. Like, Gronk isn't Gronk of the Patriots. He still can, stand still and catch a ball and fall down, but that's about it. Antonio Brown is doing God knows what. Scotty Miller's a good, like Wes Welker, like Kmart Wes Welker, but he's just not there yet. And so just seeing the weapons fall away one at a time against these teams, like he needs like a Deebo Samuels and a George Kittle. Like he needs like this refreshed core around him. And I think Shanahan would be the guy to do it. Like if he had Tom Brady, not Tom Brady's replacement in that game, they like the Rams wouldn't have even come close yesterday. It would have been a blowout.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, let's JG, can you stick around for another 10, 13?
Yeah, okay. I got another 8 minutes probably.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to this other story real quick as JT as well is here. Josh McDaniels, hired by the Raiders, former offensive coordinator for the Patriots here. He was a head coach for the Broncos, didn't do so well for them. Do you like this hire, JT, for Josh? Is this the right situation for him to step into? Do you see him getting a better shot to do better with this team as it's constructed than he had with Denver?
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel kind of 2 different ways about it. I'm happy to see a Patriot get another head coaching job, but they don't have the best track record. Okay. They have not done great outside. He didn't do great in Denver. I think he lasted 1 or 2 years at most.
Yeah,
and was booted out of there. 2 years. I was watching Josh McDaniels this year. It felt a little bit at times where like I knew exactly what he was going to call before the play was snapped.
Interesting.
I mean, I know the Patriots so well. And I feel like I know Josh McDaniels so well. I'm like, here comes a screen pass. Here comes Bolden up the middle or to the left. And if I am calling it, I feel like these other teams have to be like thinking the same exact thing. Like, oh, this guy's going to call this. Right. And, there were times where I scratched my head and I was like, was that really the right call to play on that? Like, I'm also curious if Brady was kind of carrying Josh McDaniels. I mean, you got Tom Brady. How much of an offensive coach do you need to be when Tom Brady is behind the center and basically doing whatever he needs to do? So I think it'll be nice. He's definitely going to a team that has a lot of talent. So I'm excited for that aspect. And, it's going to be a real curiosity to see what he does with that team. But I'm also a little excited to see maybe some new blood in New England, a new offensive coach, maybe someone who's willing to take a little bit more chances. I think maybe he was kind of babying Mac Jones a little bit. Listen, he's a rookie. Let's not throw him into, the fire and have him throw 30 times a game. He threw 3 times in one game. Which I understood. That one I understood because, the wind. But yeah, I'm excited to see a different offensive coach and maybe unlock what Mac Jones could do a little bit more in his second year. Because I do think Josh McDaniels was playing it safe a lot this past year.
Thoughts, Winston? Thoughts, Ben, on McDaniels in Las Vegas?
I mean, dude, Las Vegas is a little bit of a dumpster fire. They need to go this offseason and exercise a lot of demons. Because you're talking about multiple people in trouble with the law, losing their spots on the team. Obviously, your coach losing his credibility and losing his job, the way that went down. They need a lot going on. And to think that McDaniels, filmed the Niners practice, if you remember that back in London and whatnot, you had a situation where you decided to draft Tim Tebow. I just don't know if this is the right move, but if it works out for Vegas, cool.
Yeah, what do you think, Ben? I mean, a lot of people liked Richie, who was the coach there. Richie doing his job there up in Vegas. So
like to rally that team after everything that happened, I feel like he should have gotten a bigger chance. Maybe just like, I don't know if he needed a new contract. I don't know how that would work, but just like at least a year to see what he could do with that team, because it seemed they really rallied around him or each other, and he like just rode that wave. I think Josh McDaniels isn't going to pull a Lane Kiffin, who's a total jackass no matter where he goes. And I think like he got humbled a little bit and, went back to his, his safety net of like offensive coordinator with the Patriots. And I hope he learned, and I hope he matured, and we'll see what happens. But this also feels like to where we're down to one black head coach in the NFL. Is it Tomlin? And this just feels like the merry-go-round of the same people getting hired and hired and hired again. And it's just like, what? Why are we not getting fresh faces? Like, whether or not, like, I mean, I would hope they're black, because especially Miami. I don't know why they got rid of him. That's insane. I'm
hoping he goes back to England. I'd love that back.
And so this just feels like the same thing over and over again. But I wish him the best of luck. But if I was a Raider fan, I don't know if I would be too thrilled about it, though.
Fair enough.
Also, go ahead. Quick, the GM for the Patriots also went to Vegas. So it's like kind of a package deal. It's almost like they're trying to make themselves in New England. So it should be, I think it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
The irony of the Tuck Rule guys wanting to
I know
all these years later. By the way, this is, before we let JT go, this is a shot of Tom Brady here as he was announcing his retirement.
Yes, I love this.
Oh, fucking die!
There you go. He's not going anywhere. He's sticking around.
We're not leaving.
We're not leaving. All right, JT, you got to go? You got to roll?
Yeah, I'll take off. I got to get going. But
great
thanks for having me on, guys.
I got to get going too, guys. I'm sorry.
Much love.
I got to talk about my favorite story. Okay.
You got to go, Ben.
Got to go.
Yeah, I got to get going, y'all. All right. Appreciate the love, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, Winston, let's talk about this Mina Kimes situation.
Favorite story, baby. Yo, my petty is strong with this one.
So leading up to the NFC Championship game between the Rams and the 49ers, there was a controversy here. Remember 49ers quarterback Jeff Garcia? Remember him, the team that went 5-10 with Terrell Owens when he was the quarterback? Garcia took offense to some comments here by Mina Kimes, who's a well-respected NFL reporter, worked her way up to be leading these shows on ESPN. And what she was saying about Jimmy G and the contributions to the 49ers playoff run And he got mad at her criticizing Jimmy G, a 49er, and then went after her on social media with this post. I want to make sure I get the post correct so you guys can read it along with me. This is the post here. Who the hell is Mina Kimes? And when's the last time she threw a touchdown pass in a game? Never, ever has she taken a snap or can truly understand the ability, the mindset, the physical and mental toughness that it takes to play the quarterback position for any position in the NFL. The fact that there are people out there given a platform to talk about something that they have never done is hilarious, and that's how you have to look at her. She's a joke, God, with the crying smile, laughing face. So let's just laugh at her and support Jimmy. Root on our Niners to go out and beat the living fuck out of one more team. That's what it takes. She will never know that feeling. Can I get an amen? Peace. Now, after this situation and Jimmy G shit the bed, Mina Kimes posted the meme of that dude in the party going,
The conceited meme, though.
The conceited meme, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And now Jeff Garcia has put all his social media, at least on Instagram, on private, and even went off on 95.7 The Fan when they were trying to ask about the situation, saying it was old news. He didn't want to talk about it. He hung up on them. So this is madness on so many levels. Winston, thoughts on this messiness?
There's a couple of things. That thing was pure sexism. And I'm gonna tell you specifically why. I can point to so many male analysts that did not play the game. Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless said it at one point. There are so many male analysts that have said the exact same thing about Jimmy G. You got paid all that money. You're supposed to be the guy. And then in big moments, you've been crumbling. And so Mina just makes a funny comment about it, saying, Jimmy G with this Niners team is like the person on the group project that gets an A just because they're a part of the group. And guess what happened? The Niners as a team were the ones that were going off. And then when it was on Jimmy G to finalize this game and to win, he blew it. That's what happened. So the fact that Jeff Garcia immediately after that set his Instagram to private. With all this stuff. Bro, he can go fuck himself. That is the saddest thing that I have ever seen. At what point do you not just step up and admit that you're wrong? And the funny thing is that Stephen A. Smith even called out about it. He's like, bruh, ain't nobody thinking about Jeff Garcia. Ain't nobody been worried about it. Sure, you made a few Pro Bowls and stuff like that, but you never did anything of that import where people are calling you some sort of Hall of Famer or some great person like that. Again, you decided to go after a woman analyst instead of all the men that said the exact same thing. So I cannot laugh harder. When that interception happened, as the Cowboy fan, I was dying for the Niners, but the fact that Jimmy G caused it, and I knew Jeff Garcia fucking sick, I lost my shit. I am so happy that the Niners are in the Super Bowl, but I'm even happier for Mina Kimes that she got to be like. And then on top of that, if you go and look, John, she still went out and gave Jimmy G his props and saying, so like Torrey Smith was like, Jimmy G's better than that moment. And she said, I agree. He's an upgrade for so many teams. There's going to be a market for him. That Pittsburgh makes the most sense. Stylistically, he could go there and could really pick up where that Steelers team was just waiting for Ben to get out of there. Jimmy G is still a good quarterback. I'm not going to write him off entirely, but he has some demons he has to exercise. And she just called out one of his flaws.
And this is the approach. And look, I understand Jeff Garcia's point of view. Lord knows I've been on enough schmodown fucking after shows to understand people who've never been in the arena commenting on your performance. It's a whole nother ball game. And you're allowed to feel the way Jeff felt, but you got to understand you're a public figure. And there's a way to handle a respectful discourse with a colleague of note and of accomplishment. This isn't someone just showed up yesterday and got a job hanging out there because she's pretty or something. She's earned her bones. And so and even if she hadn't, she's a woman. There's a different approach to a colleague you have to have. And that's to say, look, I don't agree with Mina Kimes' point of view. I respect that she's got a right to say what she wants to say. I like Jimmy G. I love Jimmy G. I'm going to be rooting for him on Sunday. Everybody else can feel the way they feel about it. Her and her colleagues, or male or female, have a point of view, and they're welcome to it. I feel differently. Let's go out there and kick some ass. that's the more respectful approach, you know?
Using you with Schmodown, let's just say, for example, let's say that Jen, instead of being like the interviewer, had been like an analyst for the Schmodown or something, had said something like that. If I was analyzed, let's say I'm not in it, let's say Barbarian isn't in it, we're all just analysts. If all three of us are saying a similar thing about you, but you only decide to go after Jen Sturger, you look like a piece of shit.
Exactly.
And so it's the exact same thing.
Yes.
If he had called out all the haters, who is Mina Kimes and Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless to say that? When did y'all throw a ball? If you do that, then you are just calling out the people that are trashing on your quarterback. To only call out the woman that said something about it.
A woman of color.
A woman of color, you look like such an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's why he's hanging up, rage quitting on phone calls, because, dude, you got caught looking like a dumbass.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to take the hits. I'm like this, and I tweeted this. I said, if you're going to be aggressive and you're going to be sexist, then own the consequences, deal with the backlash, be man enough to step up to it, to try to talk over people as they're trying to ask you legitimate questions about this, say that it's old history, say that everyone's moved past it, and then hang up on them, shows them you can't back up the words and the aggression that you showed in making your initial comments. Because if you really believe in them, you don't have to talk over people. You don't have to try to shut everybody up, and you don't have to set your shit to private because you're willing to own your comments. And the fact that he didn't tells me this guy's a clown, a fucking grade A clown. And it was unfortunate to see him acting this way towards someone like Mina, who's a hell of a great analyst. And I love watching her on ESPN. And women have a tough time enough. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. She has earned her stripes. She knows what she's talking about. And again, she wasn't straight. Like, she has already come back and been like, I'm not saying Jimmy G is a bad quarterback. Yeah. She immediately after the game was like, there are other places where he could go and be upgrades for teams.
Yep.
But if we're looking at this Niners team and the run that they're on, he is literally riding Bosa and Debo and Kittle's coattails and Shanahan's coattails to have gotten to that NFC Championship game. He was not the reason they were winning.
Yeah.
But he ultimately was the reason they lost.
Yeah, he was. Especially that horrific interception he threw to basically end all possible chance of them winning with some madness there. So, all right. Well, we just wanted to give our 2 cents on that. Thank you all so much for joining us here for this fascinating and fun conversation. Thanks for all the Streamlabs and the Super Chats. And I love the chat being vibrant. Please make sure you hit a like on this video. It's so important. We had almost 200 of you all watching us live. Please make sure you hit a like as we're wrapping up here. Winston A, great to see you, brother, man. What can you plug? What do you got going on?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much to everybody that has been kicking it with us. You can find me everywhere that Swaggy Blurs are sold: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. Twitch.tv/the Swaggy Blurred. I just finished before this a stream. I'll be streaming again on Wednesday and Friday. So please join me for that as well. But for those that are big Blurs in the Hood fans, we've mentioned this a bunch. For the month of February, we will be putting the Blurs of the Hood daily, or the Tuesday, Thursday show on Twitch only, twitch.tv/Blurs in the Hood. We will be doing the show there. We're doing this to try and mix some stuff up, really see if we can kind of shake up some numbers on both pages. We will put clips of the show still on our YouTube page, but we are going to exclusively have the full episodes on Twitch for all of February. So please, if you haven't already, go give us a follow over there. Go give us a subscription over there, all that good stuff. And we will see you when we see you. And the big thing, we've been doing the rewatches. We just did Batman Forever last week. Batman and Robin will be out this Friday.
Oh, good luck with Batman and Robin.
All right, everyone. Chill.
Oh, God. Thanks to JT for taking the time to come in as well. You can follow him at JT Movie Thinks. Definitely thanks to Ben Goddard for stopping in at the Ben Goddard. Follow all his stuff there. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch is Winston is doing his stuff. I'm doing more stuff there as well. The watch-alongs. Thanks to everybody who joined me for those watch-alongs yesterday. We will have a watch-along of the Super Bowl, and we'll do some commentary on those commercials as well. So look for that and more stuff coming from Twitch for sure. And then all the other podcasts I do, the Top 10, the Cinephiles, and the Geek Buddies. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. We'll see you when we see you. And thanks so much, and take care of yourselves. And we'll be back sometime soon with another live episode of Game Time. Peace.